Okay, this video is going out to several people actually. Some of them just over time have been leaving varieties of comments. And it has to do with a discussion regarding Baha'is in Israel, Zionism, and the Palestinians. So, I'm not a history person, so I know there are people who are far better than me. So I'm not going to talk about all the ins and outs because that's a complete study unto itself. But I can say a couple of things and then just kind of lead you towards something, and then I'll leave you there with that. Yes, when it was that land, became part of where the Baha'is were and how that all happened, blah, blah. Of course there was no Israel, right? Then time progressed, la la la, blah blah blah. There they are. So when Israel is put up, set up, whatever, and Baha'is are not supposed to be really, party to any kind of politics, right? I'll just put this in personal terms. If I was living in a house that the landlord was one way, and then the next thing I knew, the landlords had switched and it changed a lot of the policies of the house I was living in or whatever. I would move. Okay, now I know that's a completely unrealistic thing to say in terms of shrines and this and that, but unless Mount Carmel somehow were set apart, and I'm just going to give a ridiculous suggestion, but kind of similarly to the way that the Vatican is not really, then if it were an autonomous place and if it weren't deriving, now see, this is kind of, like I said, it's a poor analogy. Because because of the Baha'is there, they receive protection, just by the fact that they're under the Israeli government. And part of that is also, of course, because they would not teach and things like that. But they do take or receive or rely upon the safety given by the army and everything else. If you're benefiting from something that you're not contributing to, I'm not really sure how you're doing anything except but promoting their cause. Okay. So, taking that, if I've even explained that kind of, clearly enough, I don't think so. But bear with me, like I say, I don't like talking about politics, and I'm not good at describing history, and, Now, the other part of it, having to do with the Palestinians and what's going on around the Baha'is while they're in the region. I seriously, I cannot go over 2,000 years of, who did what where. It is marble ice cream. Everyone has, yeah, okay. So if you are a group that claims to be supportive and promotive of peace, and around you, you're watching all of that, I would say, when, where, and how are you promoting peace? I remember studying in Ruhi, and someone had said to me, and it was in the books, I should pull out my Ruhi to show you, but basically it was talking about if you had a choice between whether you were going to do some kind of a charitable work, or a study circle, that it was the study circle that took precedence. Now, who knows? Maybe it's changed. Maybe I misinterpreted. Maybe everybody there misunderstood it. I really don't know. But the fact that that was even posed as a question is so disgusting to me. I can't even believe there's any question. I can't even believe that there's any question of which is of greater importance. I'm not saying that it isn't important, that I'm sure through prayer that the Baha'is there are praying for peace. I'm sure that there's a benefit to that. I'm not saying that there isn't anything to it, but to not contribute to it, but to take benefit from it at the expense of another, I find that completely unacceptable, reprehensible. I can't even really talk about it. I would get so I'm stuttering. I get so upset. My blood boils. And it reminds me of, it's a really famous poem that was written in I think it was 45, and it was actually by a minister, and it's the one where it says, they came for me, and by that time there was no one left to speak up. They're coming for the first they came for the communists, and I wasn't communist, so I didn't speak up. And then they came for the Jews, but I wasn't a Jew, so no problem there. And then they came for these people and that people and the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was Protestant. And then one day they came for me, and there was no one left to speak up. I don't understand why that lesson wasn't learned. And especially in a place where, wouldn't you think they would kind of get that one? It seems to me incredibly, yeah. I don't even want to characterize it. So I don't think I can speak anymore in comments about that. I think I just need to put a cap on it, because I don't have a good way to discuss it. I really don't. And you can go ahead and call me naive and stupid, and that I'm this or that, or people thinking I'm Muslim, or I don't even know what. Whatever. But try to look at it with a little more perspective of what is claiming and what is actually happening, and it might surprise you. Because if I were to describe the situation but just not use the names of those people, so that you wouldn't be having that thought in your mind, I think it would be more than disgusting that a group could sit and watch the devastation around them. And that's what happens every day. And I don't know where the outcry is if I didn't hear it all those years. Okay, so there you go. May you have peace on your heart.